Oh my gosh, I'm totally trying a new angle at the moment because my tripod's actually sitting on my bed, which is not a stable surface, so this may not be looking great for like level wise, but like bookshelf wise it looks really nice. So I'm excited because like I actually have a little bit more room instead of having the camera right here. Like I'm still trying to figure out where I want to film the most, but it's really good that I have options. Long-winded intro, but we're actually here for a book review. So today I'm going to be telling you all my thoughts and feelings for Aurora'S End by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So this is a book that I only like recently finished, and I knew I was going to film a book review because I did one for Aurora Birdie, and I had so many questions after reading this book that I knew I needed to like get them out, and I've actually got a lot of thoughts and feelings about this book. But hopefully this won't be like a really long video. Even though I love filming my book reviews, I tend to just go on quite a lot, so I'm going to try and make it probably like a bit concise. There is going to be spoilers, but I'm really excited to talk about this book because again, it has concluded, and I have to say that the second book was like the peak of the series for me because like the first book wasn't great, the third book didn't end how I wanted it to end, and just, you know, I'm a bit sad about all the things, but like let's get into this review. Seriously though, it took me so long to get through this book because I nearly started it like in the first third of December, and it took me the whole month to finish, then plus some of January. So this is going to be in my like January wrap up and one of my first reads of 2022. Even though I read a majority of it the month before, but I just couldn't get through this quick enough. I overhyped it in my head and it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. I was actually quite disappointed because there's two aspects of this book that really annoyed me, and I will obviously go into detail as I go through the review, but like I only gave it 3 stars, and I actually gave the second book 4 stars and the first book 3. So even on average this isn't like obviously my favorite series ever, but I'm just sad that I was disappointed in it. So my main issue of the two was everyone was split up in this book. Like this book is about a squad, a team, a group of friends who are always together, and then we had 3 dividing storylines where they only saw each other right at the end of the book, and that really annoyed me. What I love about this series is the group dynamic. I love the way that they all interact with each other differently and how they are always there for each other, and there were so many times that there could have been really funny moments, but oh no, that character's not there anymore. So it just was really like not that fun to get through, and obviously this has always been a multiple POV story, so it was easy enough to follow everyone, but I just wanted them to be together and not just pining for each other to be together. Like I wanted the group, and I didn't get that. That being said, I really enjoyed the time travel element in the book. So we'll talk about Scarlet, Finian and Zila first, because they traveled 200 years in the past and they got stuck in this time loop. It was actually really interesting. Like their storyline out of the 3 was my favorite to read because I really enjoyed the fact that they basically died like over 200 times over the course of maybe a week, and they had to keep resetting, and they were just trying to get out of this time loop and stop themselves from dying. And in the time loop we were introduced to this character Nari Kim, who is like a fighter flyer. So she was there and she was very distrustful of them, and she blew them up actually quite a lot before the story even started, but she's there and she joins the crew to like try and help them out. And what I really loved about this part of the story is this explains how all the items were there for them to discover in that lockbox that has been like sitting there for 8 years, which actually turned out to be like 200 years, because that was the biggest mystery for me, was figuring out how all these items got there before they were even basically born. And all these items helped them on the journey because it saved Cal, it saved Tyler, and like Finian got that pen, and then like Zila got the earrings which have a hawk on them, which helps her know that Nari Kim's a good person. So I was really excited that that got tied up because again, as I said, that was a really big mystery for me that like really kept me concerned for a lot of time waiting for this book. And what was also awesome is Nari Kim is actually one of the founders of Aurora Academy. So this is her when she's younger, 20 years before she even first discovered the academy, which was interesting on itself because they were all thinking that she looked really familiar, and then they realized that they walk past this 100-foot statue every single day at the academy, and they realized that that's where the facial features were familiar from. And it was actually really sad when they were running out of time because the time loop was getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and then Zila had to stay behind because they couldn't do it with one person. Nari wasn't able to do what she needed to do to get them out. She needed to have someone else to help her, and the fact that Zila stayed and she helped found Aurora Academy and she set up everything for them to then be able to get to the point where they are. So then that becomes a basic time loop because obviously she's living in the past, but then she gets born in the future, and then she has to go through it all again and then learn who she is, become who she is, and then do this time loop over and over again. And she also ends up dating Nari, and they have a whole entire life together. So as I said, she's like the third founder that they never talk about because it could be a paradox. But it's seriously so amazing how far Zilla actually came, because she was very socially not okay in a sense. Like, she just didn't like being around people. She was very quiet, and she grew into really caring for her squad, and now she basically saved the world. And because she's so smart and powerful, she knew what she needed to do to keep up to date with everything. But then it's really sad because she's never actually going to know if she did enough to save them, because she's never going to know what happens in the future. She can only do her part, which is also a really sad thing to have to like see her deal with. And it was really nice that we actually saw like video messages from her over the course of the time, because she was trying to stop paradoxes from happening, but she was still trying to give them any means to help them. And I just like, that sacrifice was like really special in this book. And then we have Aurora and Cal, my favorite people. So they travel like about 30 years into the future, and the Ram has completely taken over the world, and there is not many people left, not many people going, but they bump into Tyler as like a 50-year-old man. And that was just beyond bizarre, because we got to see Tyler in a frame of age where he's not a boy anymore, he's a man, and he's basically just given up hope and expects to die at any moment. And it was just so sad for them to have to interact with this version of him, and for him to be like, guys, you just left and all this shit has happened and what have you done? Which is true, because Aurora and Cal are kind of useless. Like, I just don't like her anymore because she's all like, I'm so special with my magic, and I'm like, I hate you. Stop it. And Cal is just clearly a little puppy dog that follows her around, and he doesn't have a personality anymore, so it's not fun either. And basically it felt like the thing that happened in here was trying to throw this mystery of, oh, who's this person that looks mysteriously like Tyler and Sadie? Oh, maybe it's their daughter, and they just think we're not going to know the whole entire time because you keep mentioning her, and now she has blonde hair, and then, so, oh, Sadie died a while ago because she wasn't going to become a part of the Ram, and blah blah blah. Like, really, you thought it was so sneaky. Like, I could totally tell that this was a kid that Tyler had. I felt like it didn't really pay off this mystery, and even though I really did like the character and I liked the relationship we had with Tyler, and it's going to be really interesting if she does get born in the future, even though we're never going to find out, it's just the way that the authors thought that we wouldn't know. It's like, we know. We know, it's so obvious we know. And it also felt like them getting back was way too drawn out, and obviously the Star Slayer was there as well because he was with the weapon and the weapon disappeared, and then they're trying to make it back, and he's all like, oh, everyone who does this is so weak and I'm so strong because I killed my whole planet of billions of people and I'm awesome. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. No one cares what you're talking about, okay, dude? And I was really happy that he died at the end because he sacrificed himself to save his son. That was a good moment, but also, like, Cal isn't even worth it. So, like, bruh, pick other battles, dude. There's so much better things to be doing with your life. And then we have Tyler in the present, and he's all on his lonesome, and the only thing he has to do is save Aurora Academy, because he gets this like message that tells him he needs to do it, and he sees a vision of himself dying with this person with blonde hair. So obviously Aurora sends a message back to him, and he has to try and save the academy. And it was pretty interesting because Tyler's also come a long way, but maybe not in a good way. Like, it's still a good character, but like, he used to be so like stick up his ass, and now he swears and he drinks and he just kills people, and he like goes onto ships and like locks everyone up, and he's all like, you know, criminal mastermind. And then like he does save the academy, and he ends up seeing Kat and he kills her, and then he loses his eye. And I thought that was so stressful because we already knew that he lost his eye because he lost it in the 50-year-old version of him. But at least in this timeline they were able to give him like a cybernetic eye so he can still see, which is good. And also he got with Sadie, which is really fun because I felt like this relationship really was building from the previous book, and I really liked them together, even though she is so like evil in a sense. Like, I love her. Like, she's like a girl boss, but she also will kill people if she needs to, and she's not like a loving personality, but I like that she loves him. But I don't think she's gonna become like soft for him. He has to become harder for her, which I think is really interesting as well. But she also feels the pull for Tyler, so there is nothing she can do about it. She's like, you're it for me and I hate you, but I'm gonna like try not to. The best romantic part of this book though was when Scarlet and Finian finally got together, because there's always been that vibe there. And even though Scarlet is so out of his league, and she never saw him that way for the longest time, and Finian always had this like unrequited crush on her, but then when she finally saw him and saw how big of a heart he is, and she has a really big heart, and they just make a perfect couple. And I really like this idea of, you know, like the popular girl and the geek vibe with them, and I love it so much. Like, they are the perfect couple. So glad that it finally happened, and they just got to spend a lot of time together in this book, and it was really good. And then the thing that really shits me about this book is that abysmal ending. So all this stuff happens, they're all dealing with with shit in these different timelines and they come back together for about 10 seconds and then Aurora's like, I'm gonna defeat the Ram with love. Like, what? What? Like, that was just so dumb. And I understand it's meant to be like really thoughtful and impactful, but I'm just like, oh my god, love, why did you just kill the bitches because they're evil? And I'm really mad too, because I had this suspicion that the Ram was actually the good guys and the guys that have been training her this whole time were the bad guys. I thought that would have been way cooler, but then it's like, oh, the guys that are the bad guys actually are the bad guys. Like, that became really boring to me, but like not as bad as what actually happened. Like, it just felt so dumb that she goes on this epiphany journey and she's just like, oh my god, and then the Ram just chooses not to kill people because they decide they don't want to be a unit anymore, they want to be individual, and they become stars in some universe, and like no one dies. Like, I mean, a lot of people die because of the Ram, but none of the 6 die. Like, Zila does get sent away, but she doesn't die. Like, it feels unrealistic that just none of them died. Like, they were all just G, except for the people that were meant to die. Like, it's just so stupid. And the fact too that the whole entire series we got told that Aurora was gonna die and then she just loses her powers and she gets to live, and I just think that's such a shit trope. Like, it's so annoying when they grow so much and then they have to become normal and live their normal boring lives. Like, they should at least get to keep their powers or die. Like, I hate it when books do this because, like, of course they're not going to die, but it would have made it even more impactful because you know they're not going to do it, but then if they did it, you'd be stressed about it. Like, I would be stressed about it if she actually had to die, and Cal's just like, oh, don't die, and it's like, dude, a gazillion people are going to die, she's one person, and then, oh, no, she doesn't die, she just becomes a human. Like, it's dumb. Okay, I feel like I'm getting really ranty about this book, so I'm probably gonna, like, cut it there, but, like, I have thoughts and feelings about this book, but I can't really think outside of the 2 things that really annoyed me about this book. Like, I just can't. Like, it just didn't end right. I feel like both of them could have written this better. Like, this is just not okay. Like, they are good authors and they've written good series together for them to just give us this kind of really abysmal ending. So I'm mad about it. But guys, I do hope you enjoyed this review, and it's been a while since I filmed a book review. I really would like to try and film more book reviews, but I have to read books that either make me really mad like this one or books that I really enjoyed, so we'll have to see how the year goes, because there is a lot of books that are really hyped books that I do want to get into, and I want to try and do some more reading vlogs. But I am excited. Like, this is my first book review of 2022. It's a fun time. But anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!